Hi everyone, welcome back to Cottoverdi. My name's Annette and today we're going to be pruning. So if you're curious about how to prune something, maybe I can help. I am not an expert, but I have been doing it for a few years. We were really hoping to dig the corridor bed today, take the box trees out and plant our Desdemona roses, but we can't do that because the weather's been so bitterly cold and so the ground is absolutely frozen solid. We've tried putting a spade in and it just won't go anywhere. So today is a pruning day. It's actually going to warm up and tomorrow it's going to be like 10 degrees centigrade. So actually this is a perfect time to be pruning. It is the end of January. So the first thing I'm going to prune is this Acer behind us. This is an Acer grissom and we've been growing it for a few years. And what we like to do each year is to take out up to a third of the branches. So what we're trying to do is to reveal this bottom area here where the trunks are, because the bark is absolutely beautiful, and so we want to show that. And also there's a glazed corridor behind and this room over here, and so as we come in we want to be able to see through the tree, so we're trying to sort of lift the canopy so that we've got more of a view onto the patio and through to the garden. So all the beautiful leaves are at the top, and then at the bottom we've just got these gorgeous branches with the peeling bark. That is the aim. But with acers, they will bleed, firstly if you prune them at the wrong time, but secondly you just shouldn't take more than a third off each time you prune. And we prune once a year at about this time when it's dormant, and we take off up to a third. So maybe, you know, with all of these branches here, we take off a maximum of 3 big branches, maybe 4. But we're going to leave the larger trunks. So let me show you what I'm planning to take off this year. So from this side of the tree, it looks like quite a nice vase shape, which I like. But as we move upwards, this branch here is crashing into this pillar. Now we can't do anything about this pillar. We were required to have that by the conservation lady. So we have to keep the pillar. So I need to take out the branches that are growing into the pillar and make this more of a vase shape here. So I'm probably going to take out this branch here and this one here. And then there's a branch at the back that I want to take out too. Let me show you that. So this branch here is quite low down, and as I said, we're trying to raise the canopy. So we left this one last year because we didn't want to take too much out. But this year I feel like this one could come out, and possibly this branch over here too. So the aim is to be able to walk all the way around the tree, and at the moment this branch is very much in the way. So I'm going to take this out and then probably this one, because we'd walk into those, and as I said, I'm trying to raise the canopy. Now when we're pruning an Acer, it's really important not to leave too much of the stem here. So I'm going to be taking this branch out, and this is kind of like a ring, sort of where it attaches to the upright branch. It's actually got a name, I can't remember what the name is, but you really want to cut back to exactly where that join is between this tree and that tree, but not cut into this ring. So we want to cut back as far as we can to this ring where it's sort of changing colour, but not actually cut into it. I'm repeating myself. This is the gorgeous peeling bark on this tree. It's so pretty, and when the sun shines through it, it just shines bright red. You can kind of see the orangey colour there. Let me take that off. You can see the orangey colour. And so when the sun's shining, you can imagine it looks like fire. So because this branch is quite small, I think I'm going to be able to just use my ordinary Felco 2s. And so I'm going to cut back to that ring, but not into the ring. And I'm going to cut here. But I'm so weak. Okay, I'm going to get my loppers. Time to get the big boys out. See if I can do this one myself without getting Richard involved. Okay. Maybe I'll get the saw to that one. I'm not sure how to chop this one because it's like right tight up against that one there. Maybe I have to chop it upwards. Can you saw upwards? I don't even know. Is that something that's possible? Oops. If I was stronger, I would definitely be trying to lop it off with my loppers. Okay, I'm stuck. Definitely stuck. Let me try the loppers. I'm going to go around the other side. Hey! Okay, it wasn't perfect, but that will do. Okay, so I'm also going to chop this one off. I'm now around the other side of it, and this is where I've taken most of the branches out. You can see them on the ground there. And I'm now almost able to walk under here without ducking, but we're going to have to wait to cut any more of those branches off till another year, because I feel like I've taken off as many big branches as I want to take off this year, and next year hopefully those branches will have lifted. The only other thing that I do on this Acer after I finish doing the bigger prune is I take off any little spindly branches at the bottom, so that we are again revealing the trunk. So anything that's little and small, I just get my little snips to and take those off so that they don't leaf out. For instance, these little ones here, I'm just going to take them off, and that lets the tree breathe in the middle, and it's not, you know, any particularly hard pruning that I'm doing, but anything that's on the sort of bottom half of the trunks here I tend to snip off. Most of them are just breaking off, to be honest with you. So I can still see that these branches are a little bit close to that pillar, so I'm going to cut off halfway, I guess, this one here that's touching the pillar, because that's not good. Those ones are going above it, and these are this side. I think that's pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with that. The trunks at the bottom, sort of halfway, I guess that's about maybe 3 or 4 foot high. They are pretty much bare, and it's making more of a vase shape. And then, I mean, you can see how tall it is, and I wouldn't prune anything off the top. I do want it to grow taller, but that is all I'm doing for the Acer Grissom. And actually, just between you and me, I'm dead chuffed that I've done that myself this year, because in previous years my shoulder has been too painful and I haven't been able to do it, and I've had to get Richard to help. So yay, go me. The other thing we're going to tackle today are these trees behind me. So we have 7 of these trees around our patio, the seating area. We did have 8, but 1 fell over in a storm in a previous year. And when we planted them, they were tiny, spindly trees, and that's why one of them just broke in a storm. It just collapsed on itself, even though it was staked. Anyway, we pruned these quite hard last year, and they've really bushed out. They've thickened up a lot, and they seem to have just sort of settled in, and they're really happy. But we've got quite a few sort of shoots bouncing off that I don't want. I just want to tidy up the shape. These are Cursus ilex or Holm Oaks. I can't remember what the other name is. I'll put it up on the screen. They've got tiny, tiny little acorns. They don't amount to anything, but they've got gorgeous silvery blue leaves, and they're evergreen and super hardy, and that's why I wanted them here. And they provide shade, and hopefully they'll provide more shade as they grow, and they're just going to form a lovely sort of cozy, intimate atmosphere in our seating area. So it's super easy to prune these. You just literally shape them into whatever shape you want. And I would quite like to form an umbrella shape. So I want them to be flatter at the bottom and then nice and rounded at the top. Now obviously there's quite a lot of this tree that I can't reach, and so I will get Richard to come and tackle those bits on a ladder. The other thing I forgot to mention about Cursus ilex is that when we're pruning them, we do check the trunks. First of all, we have to check that the ties aren't too tight, but also Cursus ilex, Holm Oaks, have a tendency to try to sprout along the trunks, and you just have to pull off any little shoots that are on the trunks, because otherwise it'll turn into a bush rather than the tree that you want. So these are the trees from the garden bedside. This one here is definitely more of a conical shape. I'm not desperately happy with it, but I'm going to let it carry on growing and see what happens. I need it to fill in this space here. This one's a lovely round shape, this one's a lovely round shape, and this one is getting there. But you can see how like it's kind of cozy around the seating area, and then this over here, this is where the eucalyptus hedge is, and this is where I've recently planted the jasmines just here, and we're going to have an archway here. So the other thing that I'm going to do now before it's too late is I'm going to prune my new fruit trees. Now they really don't need that much pruning because they're brand new and they're just kind of settling in, but this branch here is not a good branch, so I'm going to cut this back to a bud, because it's kind of like, can you see, it's just crossing, and just I don't want it there. So I'm going to cut it to an outward facing bud, I think, like that. That's what I'm going to do. And then I think I may just leave this. It's a nice open vase shape. I probably don't want this branch here because it's growing into the middle. And Monty Don always says to make sure a bird could fly through it. So I'm going to take out the branches that are growing in towards the middle, like that. And that's all I'm going to do to this apple tree, I think. I'm quite happy with that. I don't know whether I'm supposed to cut the top off to make it branchable, but it seems to be branching on its own, so I'm going to leave it. So this is my plum tree. I've never had a plum tree before in my life, but it's doing weird things. So it seems to be shooting up from the ground, and I don't know whether that's the rootstock that's shooting or whether those are going to be plums too. So because I don't know, I think I'm going to leave it. But this branch here is doing wild and wonderful things, so I may take it out. I don't know. Like, am I supposed to leave these bits in? Can anyone tell me? It doesn't look right. I'm pretty sure the plum tree is just supposed to be a plum tree. I don't think it's supposed to be shooting from the ground like that. I think it's just supposed to be one trunk. I'm going to take them all out. Okay, just in case it was a mistake, I'm going to leave one, but because it's banging against here, I'm going to cut it down to there. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So we had so many shoots coming up from the bottom that it makes me think that that was the rootstock growing, and perhaps we put too much mulch around the bottom, so it's planted too low, which has initiated the rootstock growing. I don't know if that's the case. If it was part of the plum tree and I've just cut it off, that's quite sad, but there were so many growing, I feel like it'll reshoot. So we'll see. If anybody knows the answer, please could you let me know? Thank you. So this tree here is my Falstaff apple tree, and it doesn't appear to have any broken branches, it doesn't have any diseased branches, and none of the branches are crossing. So I feel like I should leave this one for a year and see what happens. It is only a year old, like all the other fruit trees. So I haven't had any fruit from it, and I'm just going to leave it to do its thing and then come back to it next year if I need to. So this bed behind me here is what we call the corridor bed, and we were going to tackle this bed today, but the ground is too frozen. But I thought what I could do today in preparation for tomorrow when we hope to dig it is I'm going to just cut back all the perennials and prune the roses, because that will really help us get cracking tomorrow with digging stuff out and replanting. This bush here is a salvia icing sugar, and it's absolutely gorgeous in the summer. You can see how big it gets, and I cut it back quite hard every single spring because it just makes this gorgeous bush full of colour all summer long. It's one of the last things to be flowering in my garden, and it starts really early and then just continues all summer, and I love it, and it's a lovely bright pop of colour in this bed here. It's going to have to move because this is exactly where the Desdemona standard roses are going, right in the middle here, and I've got two of these. I've got one here and one the other side, but what I'm going to do is prune it back hard today. Now, I've never pruned it hard in January, but it's already leafing out. I can already see some new green growth, so I do need to cut it back, and that's what I'm going to tackle now. So it's quite easy to see where I cut it back to each year, and then this is all growth from last year, and there's a lot of green stuff on there at the moment, so I'm going to cut it back hard again, and I'm just literally going to grab it, try and cut above a leaf node. That's what I'm doing anyway. But that's it for today. We've pruned the trees, the Acer grissom, all the Holm Oaks, and I've checked on my fruit trees, and I've also cleared this bed as much as I can in preparation for tomorrow. I've pruned back the Cheshire roses and I've pruned back the salvia icing sugar, and I've just kind of trimmed all the other perennials like the aquilegia and the astrantia. I've chopped all those back to the ground. Anyway, I'm really hoping that we can get this bed planted up tomorrow and the boxes taken out. I can't stand those things anymore. They look so tatty. But I'm really hoping that we can get all that done before the storm hits tomorrow. If I can't, then it'll be next weekend. Anyway, I really hope that you've enjoyed coming along with me today as I tackled some jobs in the garden. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. It really helps me. And if you're new to my channel, then do subscribe. That also really helps me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.